because my grades were dropping, and my attendance were getting worse and worse. So that's one of the biggest challenge for me. And my advice for you guys, if you guys when you guys do come to the United States, is make your education your number one thing. Do not make your friends influence you and make you go down a wrong pathway. Remember why you came to the US, for education. Always remember, for education, and keep on trying, keep on trying. You're gonna get there. God will make a way, God will help you, God will always provide a way for you, even when the road may seem dark and the road may seem like there's no way to even go to that road. God will always make a light for you, and he will always guide you.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned about the peers influence, because
Mhm.
the peers influence is crucial in America as the high school students, right?
Yes.
So it's really, really important. And what about your cultural experience? I know that you are bilinguals and bicultures, and please tell us about your cultural experience. Do you think you are assimilated into American cultures?
Okay, well, basically, like I said, I came to the United States at such a young age. So I feel like I'm kind of accustomed to their American ways, but I'm not very Americanized.
Mhm.
Yes, I do associate myself with American people, but I will never forget my Burmese people, and I will always try to help them. Even in class, if I see a kid that's struggling with their work, or that's struggling, with their language, with English, I try to help them. And I would say that I'm not very Americanized. I never forget my culture. I love my culture. I owe it to my Burmese to give it back to them. And I don't think I'm very Americanized.
Since you came to America at very young age, and
Mhm.
you started your education at the, uh, elementary school, right?
Yes.
Did you have any language barriers when you first came? If you had language barriers, please tell us, how did you overcome your language barrier?
Yes, of course. Of course I had language barrier. 100% I did. Um, like I said earlier, my elementary, I started my kindergarten in the year 2007. So throughout 2007 to about maybe 2011 to 12, there weren't that much Burmese people. So I couldn't find the proper help. Now there's many amazing programs like Hope for Tomorrow, and that they help their kids with English and all the help that they need. But when I was younger, I really had no one to help me. I don't blame my parents. I'm very grateful that they brought me here to the US at a very young age, and that they brought me to the US. And I try my best. I always give my 100% in everything. And seeing myself struggle with English or with math, it made me want to try harder. It made me want to try harder. And how I learned English was by, like I said, I watched cartoons. I watched cartoons, and those cartoons helped me because I watched what they were saying and what they were doing. So it kind of matched. So if they were like saying, for example, I went to the park, I would see them going to the park, walking to the park. So I was like, oh, that means, I'm going to the park. So that's how I kind of learned my English. And also I learned my English by books. I read books, and there's like, I learned by kids book, of course. I can't read a whole chapter book, I learned like by like kids book. Um, and I just read, and then, yeah, I just learned by that.
I'm glad that you mentioned about Hope for Tomorrow. Would you
Mhm.
please tell us a little bit about Hope for Tomorrow? Is it educational organization or religion organization?
Hope for Tomorrow, it is an amazing organization, educational organization. And it is run by my very good friend, Saya Justin. And what they're doing is amazing. They offer after school help for students that need help academically, and it's a very amazing organization. And also, he ran a new business. He ran a new learning, and they're teaching our students from Myanmar, and they have an online teaching there too. So yeah, it's for all ages. It's not only for kids, it's for all ages.
Now, let me ask you about the cultural challenge. What are the challenges of being a second generation Burmese Americans? Since most of the second generation Burmese Americans, they got stuck between two cultures, between the Burmese cultures and the American cultures. So what are some of the challenges that you face as the second generation Burmese Americans?
Yeah, so being a second generation, it's not it's not that easy. There are many challenges that come along with it. Um, and for me, I just feel like sometimes I'm kind of just stuck, because I love my Burmese food, but I also love my American food. So it's kind of like that. But I always remember, I always advise myself, don't be too Americanized, right? Like I said earlier, don't be too Americanized. Don't ever forget your culture, because I'm not trying to look down on American people or anything, but nowadays at the church, if you go to an American church, and if you go to a Burmese church, the American church doesn't have that much youth like ours. So I try not to be very Americanized, and there are many hardships being a second generation immigrant and student, because there are always lots of controversies, even in school. People, when they see you, all they see is, oh, she's from Burma, she's Burmese. That's what they see. They just like image, like let's see, let's racially image you. So that's like one of the things is like, oh, I'm so much more than a Burmese person, like, I don't, you shouldn't like, say, oh, that's just a Burmese girl. I feel like I'm just so much more than that, and there's so much more to that, being a Burmese person.
Since there are a lot of Burmese population in Indianapolis, what do
Mhm.
you think the stereotype of the Burmese people in Indianapolis?
Can you repeat that one more time, please?
Since there are a lot of Burmese population in America,
Mhm.
what would be the stereotype of the Burmese in Indianapolis?
Yeah, so I live in Indianapolis, and there are a lot of Chin people, Burmese people. We actually have the nickname Chindiana. So it's called Chindiana basically because there's a lot of Chin people. Um, and every I go to Perry Meridian High School, and Perry Meridian High School and Southport High School has the most Burmese people. So every class that I go to, there's always a Burmese person. And sometimes it makes me feel like I'm at home seeing my fellow Burmese people. It makes me feel like, oh, we're all here in the US for like the same reasons. We're all trying to make a better life. We're all trying to get a better education. So I just feel like it makes me proud seeing more of my Burmese people year by year expand.
Good. And you have told us about how did you overcome your language barriers. Let me
Yeah.
ask you another question. How did you overcome your academic challenge?
So there are many academic challenges. I feel like year by year, as I go on year by year, sometimes I lose my ways, and sometimes I'm just like, oh, I don't even want to do this anymore. There's so much homework, because the older you get, the more older the grade you get. So from like 10th grade to 11th grade, 11th grade to 12th grade, there will be more and more homework. And the stuff you will learn will be way more complex. So that I'm just like letting it out there, warning you guys. But one thing is, you should always study. I studied a lot by going over my notes. So in class, my teacher would talk about the lecture, and I would write my notes, and I would write it in my understanding. So if, for example, if she explains something to me on the board, and and I just wrote it in my own words how I understood it. So when I go back and read my notes, I'm like, oh, okay, okay. Instead of, instead of what the teacher was saying, I read it in I wrote it in my own words. And also, one thing that was difficult for me also is I have a job as well. So I go to work and I also go to school.
Mhm.
So it's like multitasking, which is kind of difficult at times, but it's challenging. But I like it because I like challenges, like I said earlier. So it pushes me more and more. Um, and yeah, take notes. Always talk to your teacher. Don't be scared. Like they want to help you, they're here to help you, and do not be shy. You can email them, or after class you can say, hey, miss, whoever her name is, can you please explain to me more about this? I don't really understand it, and they will help you all the time. So just don't be shy. We're all here for the same reason, is for a better education. And don't be shy. And also, one thing is surround yourself, have good people, like have good friends that motivate you. Who you have in your life, who your friends are, is a big factor to who you are. So that's my advice: to have good friends that motivate you, that push you. And yeah, I think with having good friends, taking notes, studying, being close with your teacher, there is not a doubt that you will succeed.
Mary, it's really interesting because you are full-time student and also
Mm.
you have job outside the school. And how did you manage your time?
Okay, so at first, I think it was very difficult. Um, First of all, I don't 100% need the money, okay? It's not like, oh, I need the money, so I'm gonna work because my family doesn't have enough. I need to work. It wasn't like that. It was more so of my choice. I'm the youngest in my family, so everything was given to me. And I kind of wanted to be independent, I guess. I wanted to have my own money so I can spend it on my, like, whatever I wanted for myself. Um, I've been working at Panda Express, which is a food company, for a year now. And I started off in my junior year. And my junior year, because of COVID-19, we had virtual. So my whole junior year was all virtual. So school was kind of easier because it was virtual. So I got my work done and I went to work. So I didn't have to worry anymore. But now I'm not virtual anymore. I'm going to school in person. So at the beginning, I used to work about 4 days in a week, but now I only work about 2 days to one day. So because I don't want to, my school is my number one priority. Even after we go to college, we're gonna get a job, right? So we're basically gonna work until we're old, and we're gonna work until we die, whether you like it or not. So right now, when you're young, just go to school, have a good education, get a good scholarship, and try your best, have a good GPA, have good grades. So yeah.
Thank you. And what's your favorite subject to study in high school? And what will you study in college and why?
Okay, so my favorite subject to study in high school would probably be reading. My least favorite is math. I am the worst. I am the worst at math, and I'm gonna admit it. I'm the worst at math. So math is my least favorite. But like I said, I still try, but my grade isn't the best. Because I'm not very good at it. Reading, I have fun reading a lot because I don't know. It's just like reading, it excites you. I feel like you learn something new every single day when you read, whether it be a biography or whether it be about, anything like even like a story, a short story. You can learn so much even in that short story. So I like reading, and yeah, and I feel like reading has a very impact in my life because that was how I became better at English. So, you know, that's why I love reading. It always teaches me.
It's kind of funny because most of American professors and
Mm.
teachers think that all the Asian students are good at math. I'm
That
not
is,
really good at math too.
yeah, like at
Yeah.
my school, there'd be a lot of Asians and they'd be amazing at math. And I'm just like, wow, like to have their brain, it's just so jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also my in college, I'm planning on majoring in psychology,
Mhm.
and I'm planning on minoring in elementary education. And the reason why I chose to study in psychology is because of I want my Burmese people to be more aware of the importance of mental health. The number one reason why my Burmese peers, our Burmese peers, why we are struggling with all these mental disorder is because I feel like we don't know where to get the help that we need. And the number one reason is because of language barrier. And our older generation, Burmese generation, um they don't really know how to speak English, so they don't know where to get the help that they need. And I feel like everyone in this planet has a purpose in life, and I believe that my purpose is to help people and to give back to my community. And I want to make mental awareness and mental health really important in our Chin community. And I feel like we don't really speak upon it, and I want people to know that it's okay to ask for help. God gave doctors, psychiatrists, teachers, the ability and the talent that they have to help us. So we should always ask them for help, right? We shouldn't be, you know we shouldn't be selfish and be like, oh, I don't need the help, like, I got this on my own. Sometimes you do need the help, and it's okay to ask for help because they're here to help you.
I'm glad that psychology has become more popular among the second generations Burmese
Yes,
Americans.
me too.
And as a spiritual leaders, I see it's really important to be healthy emotionally. If we are
Hmm.
not healthy emotionally, it is impossible to be spiritually healthy. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you shared that. Okay, so Mary, what kind of the qualifications do you think are important for the Burmese students in Myanmar to study in the US? Because there are hundreds of Burmese students who are preparing to come to America right now. So please tell us about some of the quality that you think are important for them before they come to America.
So, America, people think when you come to America, it's like heaven on earth, right? Like there's no problem, and and there's no hardships, right? Which I don't blame them. I feel like you have so much freedom in the U.S. It's really amazing here in the U.S. But also just like never forget your ways. Like I said earlier, it's really important to never forget your ways. And the subject that I think is important, I feel like every subject is important to me. I feel like every subject plays like a role in life. Um, like for example, U.S. history. U.S. history is very important because it's the culture of our U.S. It's the culture of the U.S. So it's really important to know about the United States culture and our founders and like all those stuff. I just think that every subject is very important to study, and as long as you are passionate about it, then that's all that matters. And yeah, I feel like as long as you're passionate about it and you give your 110%, so not even 100%, like 110%, then I think you will do amazing and you will succeed. So, fighting is what I my advice would be.
So from your academic experiences, what is one part of your academic experiences that you would like to share with them?
My academic experience.
Yeah, yeah. From your academic experience, that one thing that you want to share with them. Yeah.
Can you give me an example, please? Sorry.
For example, like how did you they overcome your academic challenge or anything that you experience in American schools?
Yeah, so American schools, one thing about it is one thing about why I like my school is there are so many beautiful cultures. You have Mexicans, you have Asians, you have African Americans, you have Americans, and it's so diverse. And it's really amazing and beautiful because, God created all of us in his image, all beautiful, we don't, none of us look alike, right? We're all different. We're all beautiful in our own ways. Um, I feel like one challenge though is sometimes uh, our Burmese uh, people are very racist here. They're very racist. I There was an incident last month about an American girl that I go to school with, saying stuff about Burmese people, that she didn't like us, that we stink, and all these stuff. And as a Burmese person, it really hurts my feelings that one person could not like us this much when all we're doing here in the US is getting a better education. We're not trying to impress the Americans, like saying, oh, we're better than you. We're not trying to impress them, right? We're just coming here for a better education. And I feel like sometimes like that like image, like those slurs, those horrible slurs that people say about my Burmese peers and about me or my Burmese fellow students, it really hurts my feelings, and sometimes I get like discouraged. But over time, I always remind myself the most important thing why I came to the United States, and just never forget my ways. And I just pray for them instead. Pray for their heart, pray for God to heal them, whatever is going on in their life that makes them be an awful human being basically.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your experience. And some of our Burmese, students from Burma might not aware of the term racist. Would you please give us some example of being racist in America?
Yeah, so racism has always been around for as early as they can be. And I feel like racism is not in back in the days, it used to be African Americans were really, like, how do I say it, like, people didn't even count them as a human being, like, because they were a darker skin shade than American people. And racist slurs, for example, like us Asians, people would say, oh, you guys eat dogs, or they would say ching chong, like that. Like, it's making fun of our cultures, it's making fun of our appearance. So basically that's racism, and you're going to experience it whether you like it or not. And my advice for you is, don't take it to heart. Don't take it to heart. There's always going to be people. This world will have good people and they will have bad people, so even if you guys encounter racism, don't be discouraged, and rather just pray for them and know that there's nothing wrong with you. And there's nothing wrong with you, there's something wrong with them. Okay, so just
Yeah.
don't be
Yeah.
discouraged.
we we always blame American people, and they are racist. What do you think about our Chin parents? I mean, the first Burmese generation. Do you think that they are also racist in some way?
Okay, so our Burmese parents, honestly, I don't really blame them because in Myanmar there aren't American people like everywhere they go, so they're not really accustomed to American people, or they don't see Mexican people. So it's like they're not accustomed seeing all these different cultures. So I feel like our Burmese parents, I don't think they're necessarily racist. I feel like they profile them a lot. They profile them a lot, which is um whether you like it or not, I've even seen it firsthand. I just feel like it's just because they aren't used to seeing Mexicans or Americans where they used to live. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why.
Since you are bicultural, what is one thing that you really like and love about American cultures?
Yeah, so American cultures, um One thing I like about American culture is I feel like in America, they have all these amazing holidays in America. And like for example, the 4th of July, it's Independence Day. So they would have amazing fireworks. And it's just like beautiful to see. It's when I first came to the US, uh I was like, what are those noises? I was so scared. I was like, what are those like? Is someone getting shot? Because it was like boom, boom. But then like I looked outside, it was these beautiful fireworks. And then um, you know, I even in school they told us about like the independence and why they did fireworks, and I was very fascinated with it. I feel like American people, they have all these amazing holidays, and also in America they have amazing food. So their food is really amazing. It makes you kind of gain weight because it's very unhealthy but it's really good, so I can't really help myself sometimes. It's really good. So their culture and also the amazing food that they have. I love it.
What do you think about the freedom of speech?
Yeah. So freedom of speech, I think, is amazing. It is amazing. But also, there's always a limit. Just because we have freedom of speech does not mean we can say horrible things that won't like if you okay, sorry if I'm like trying to word it, but it's kind of like I can't really word it. But what I'm trying to say is freedom of speech is very amazing because we are our own human. We are entitled to our own opinion. Right? We are entitled to our own opinion. But I feel like it comes to an extent. You shouldn't say things that are in my opinion, you shouldn't say things that are racial, are racist, or you shouldn't say things that will affect another person's like culture or where they're from. But freedom of speech is really amazing because you can say what you want because it's your mouth and you control it. So
Cool. What about Burmese cultures? One thing that you liked about Burmese cultures,
yeah, my
especially
Burmese
our Chin cultures.
Yeah, so Burmese culture, one thing I love about it is our beautiful Burmese outfits that girls wear. Even in the US now, we still like always wear it to Sunday at church. The knee and the ganki, the beautiful Burmese culture. We never forget where we come from. I think it's beautiful. Actually, one time I went to the grocery store with my Burmese attire. It was after church. And so I was like, I don't know if I should go in the grocery store looking like this because like they've never seen a Burmese outfit. They've always seen jeans and a shirt, like what Americans would wear. I was like, I don't know if I should go in there because like what if I like encounter racism, saying, what are you wearing, but instead when I went to the grocery store, people would be like, I love your dress. I love your dress, I love the color, and then someone even asked me about it, and I think it's beautiful. And also I forgot to mention one thing about my American culture that I like. One thing as well is I feel like in America at our schools, they love to learn about your culture. So I actually I remember, I think it was, I've had it multiple times, but one time was in my, I would say my eighth grade year. But my eighth grade year was, we had to talk about where we were born, and I was born from Burma, Phlam. I'm Phlam, and I brought lepetok. I brought lepetok with me at school so they could try it, and I also wore my Burmese outfit, my Burmese tea, my Burmese attire, and I just feel like my American teachers, they're very fascinated because there's a lot of Burmese people coming to the U.S. more and more and more, so they want to learn more about our culture, and and they